Of course, the Redskins have offensive issues, and some of the players have spoken out this week about it, including right tackle Morgan Moses. He said, we're halfway through the season. It's time for us to put up some points on the board. We got to connect on the explosive plays. We got to. We got Vernon Davis running 50 yards down the field, and we don't connect. Whatever the case is, we need those plays. I know I'm not the only one that's feeling it. Of course, they've scored 30 points in their last two games against Atlanta and the Buccaneers, two of the worst defenses in the league, who combined were giving up a total of 65 points per game. When you put the two teams together, they put up 30
combined, right?
Points per game, respectively. I wanted to throw this out to the callers, 800-636-1067. Do you think the Redskins can pick up the offensive slack? Because that's what Morgan Moses is talking about. He says it's our job to pick up the slack. We can't lean on the defense anymore. We got to step our game up and find our rhythm. I would say that I was somewhat impressed by the offensive line. The patchwork offensive line, Alex Smith was sacked just 3 times. I just don't know that they have the weapons.
Well,
I feel like it's not going to get much better.
I don't think it will either, and I don't think it's going to get much better this week with this particular matchup, especially when we talk about the offensive line injuries. Now you're going against defensive line for the Texans. They got studs up and down that line. Look at the Texans' last 6 games. They've allowed 17, 23, 7, 13, 16, and they went to Indy and won 37-34. So luck lit them up a little bit. But those last 5 games, they're not averaging more than or allowing more than, 13, 14 a game.
Yeah, and their run defense is really good, only allowing right around 93 yards rushing per game. So you would figure tough sledding for Adrian Peterson and company this weekend.
It's going to be a tough matchup. So if they're going to win this game, it's going to be similar to the way they won last week, I would think.
Yeah, you would guess if the Redskins find a way to win this game, it'll be like a 2017 or 2014 type of performance.
Correct.
They're not gonna shoot out against anybody. They don't have the capability of doing it, especially with a guy like Crowder sidelined. He's like one of their very few explosive players, and he's not even on the field.
Well, maybe they get him back this week.
No, their formula is playing good defense, limiting teams. Right now, they rank tied for 2nd in the NFC and tied for 4th in the NFL in points per game allowed. They're only giving up 19.4 points per game. So they need to play these low-scoring games.
Yeah.
Offense, they struggle to put up 20.
You know what? Houston's on the good side of the giveaway takeaway. They're not as good as the Skins, obviously, but they're +4. They're not Tampa, who's just going to gift wrap you the ball like every other possession. They take pretty good care of the ball.
They do. And again, their defense is pretty damn good.
Right.
Especially the D-line and the linebackers. But who knows? Who knows how this game's going to play out? And again, we talked about the rest of the division. The rest of the division, quite simply, sucks. All right, the rest of the division isn't very good. And Dallas has to play where, Cakes? At Atlanta.
Yeah.
Philly has to play where?
At
New Orleans. All right, so if those two teams drop those games, this game doesn't mean anything.
By the way, the Texans were lucky to escape.
Although if the Redskins win, now you got a 3-game lead.
True. It would be gravy.
I'll give the Texans credit. A 6-game win streak is impressive. But they squeaked at Denver because the Denver kicker missed a 51-yarder.
And Vance Joseph as a donk and gave them a field goal at the end of the first half because he went for like a 60-yard field goal, missed it.
Left them 50
20
seconds.
seconds, I think, on the clock for the Texans to...
He went down and kicked a field goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Texans are good, not great. Let's not overhype them like they're an AFC favorite. I think
I don't think you
they're not an AFC
them.
favorite, but they're leading their division. They've won 6 in a row.
Yep.
And they got a good defense.
All right, let's go to the phones. 800-636-1067. Of course, a lot of this week has been spent on the criticism by the Redskins players about the fans. Walt in Alexandria wants to chime in on line 2. Let's go to Walt.
Walter.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, Walt.
I want to equate this situation with a statement that the players made about how they want to see the fans there. But yet in Pittsburgh, you got a man who gives up $14 million a year. Do you think the players want to see him there? My contention is the average player is concerned about economics. They don't really care about the fans. What do you think about that situation?
Well, I mean, they definitely care about their money, but I think they would like to play in a home environment where they feel like the home crowd is behind them. And for the last 20 years plus, you can argue that the Redskins really haven't had any sort of home field advantage at FedEx Field. Look at their record at FedEx since it's been open. It's basically a 500 record.
I don't disagree with you that Everybody is concerned about economics. The junkies are worried about economics.
Of course
okay?
we are.
So players in the league do worry about their contract situation, especially in the NFL where their contracts aren't guaranteed and they can get hurt so easily. And their expectancy in terms of years in the league is very low as compared to other sports. So yes, they worry about that. But I always think this. At their core, players are competitors and they're playing a game and they want to win. And having a home field advantage helps you win. And they want to win games, and they haven't had that home field advantage. When you go to other stadiums, sometimes the noise is so much that teams have to prepare, have special, plays at the line, calls, and things like that. They don't really have to do that when they go to FedEx Field. What the players are really imploring the fan base is, in a 6-3 season, when you're winning and you have a chance to make the playoffs, they want to have those false starts that teams get on the road because they can't hear, they can't communicate, and they just haven't had that.